Okay, are you following me till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I hope it is clear till now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are two classifications, major classifications in the for the leprosy. Okay, the first one is the WHO classification, where it is paucibacillary and multibacillary type of leprosy, and it is very important because for the treatment purpose. Okay, the treatment is given according to the WHO classification. Okay. The next is Ridley and Joplin classification, where actually it was tuberculoid and lepromatous. Okay, but again it has a modification based on the clinical, histological, and immunologic features, which has the tuberculoid form TT, there is TT and LL. TT is tuberculoid, okay, and LL is lepromatous, and there are borderline leprosy in between. Okay, BT is borderline tuberculoid towards the tuberculoid pole. Okay, whereas BL is borderline lepromatous towards the lepromatous pole. Okay, and BB is mid borderline, neither towards the tuberculoid nor towards the lepromatous. Okay, the features will be distinct. Okay, so these are the 5 different or these are the 5 spectrum of tuberculosis according to the Ridley and Joplin. Okay, so for the treatment purpose we use the WHO classification, but for to know the immunogenicity, okay, we use the Ridley and Joplin classification. Now let's go to the pathogenesis. Okay, so the mode of transmission in leprosy, it is a slow communicable disease. Okay, this is a chronic disease which is very slow communicable. The incubation period between the first exposure and the appearance of signs of the disease varies from 2 to 20 years. Okay, and the average is about 3 years. So you can imagine, after the bacilla has entered the body, or after the first exposure of the bacilli and the appearance of the signs of the disease, okay, there is a huge gap of 2 to 20 years according to the immunity of the person. Okay, if the immunity of the person is not intact, okay, then the person is more prone to get leprosy in lesser years, okay, in lesser time. Whereas if the immunity, or more specifically if the cell mediated immunity of that person is intact or strong, then the person will have the leprosy after many years. Okay, and the infectivity of the leprosy is likely due to, one is direct contact. Okay, one is direct contact from the untreated leprosy patient who shed numerous bacilli from the damaged skin. So if someone touches the skin of the leprosy patient, okay, through the it is the direct contact, then there is chances of infectivity. Okay, the other things are nasal secretions or the mucous membranes where the bacilli can be there, or it can go to the fetus through the mother from the maternal-fetal transmission across the placenta, and also there can be transmission from the milk of leprosy affected mother to the infant. Okay, so this is a very slow communicable disease which has an incubation period of 2 to 20 years. Means After the exposure, first exposure to the appearance of the signs of the disease, it takes about 2 to 20 years, okay, and the average is 3 years. And the infectivity, much of things are not known about the pathogenesis and infectivity in leprosy, but the likely mechanism is through the direct contact, where the contact with untreated leprosy patients who shed the numerous bacilli from the damaged skin or from the nasal secretions or from the mucous membranes, okay, or from the materno-fetal transmission across the placenta, or from the milk of the mother to the infant, from the milk of the affected mother to the infant, okay. These are the important routes. The sequence of the disease pathogenesis is complex, is very chronic, and depends on the host microbacteria immunological interactions, okay. So here the immunological stability of the host, okay, of the human being is very, very important. It is a very chronic disease, and the sequence of the disease pathogenesis is not well defined, okay, like in tuberculosis, where tuberculosis is also a chronic granulomatous infectious disease where everything in pathogenesis is well defined, okay. But here it is not very well defined, but lump sum we know what things are going to happen, okay. And main thing is that the disease pathogenesis depends on the host, means the human being, and the microbacteria immunological interactions, okay, means the immunity, and more specifically the cell mediated immunity which comes in action. The leprosy bacilli is non-toxic, and the clinico-pathological manifestations are the result of immunopathology and or progressive accumulation of the infected cells, okay. So here also the leprosy bacilli is non-toxic. There are no any toxins which are getting released from the bacilli, okay. And the clinical pathological manifestations or the clinical signs and symptoms are the result of the immunopathology and the progressive accumulation of the infected cells. So firstly, the Mycobacterium leprae bacilli is taken up by the macrophages and is disseminated in the blood, okay. The Mycobacterium leprae is taken up by the macrophages after the person has taken up the Mycobacterium leprae, okay. For example, from other untreated leprosy infected patient, okay, from the skin or the nasal secretions, okay, and it disseminates in the blood, and it replicates primarily in the relatively cool tissue of the skin and the extremities, okay, 32 to 34 degree centigrade or Celsius, okay. It replicates in the cooler region of the skin, okay, like earlobes, mainly the testes, okay, which are slightly away from the body and slightly lesser temperature than the core body temperature, okay. It likes to replicate in those tissue more, and the virulence is based on properties of its cell wall, and the bacilli do not produce any toxins. Okay. So initially the bacilli is taken up by the macrophages in the human body after they have gained access to the human body, and they are disseminated in the blood, okay, and they replicate in the human body and primarily in a relatively cool tissue, that is of the skin and the extremities, okay. And the virulence of leprosy of the leprobacilli is based on the properties of its cell wall, and the bacilli do not produce any toxins. Now, to understand the pathogenesis, we have to know the immunology in leprosy. Okay, so we are in between of the pathogenesis. So I would like to divert you to the immunology of the immunology in causation or pathogenesis of the leprosy, which is due to the leprobacilli. Okay, Mycobacterium leprae, which is a mycobacterium. Okay, are you following me till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in leprosy, there is type 4 hypersensitivity reaction, okay, or T cell mediated delayed hypersensitivity. So you must have known what is hypersensitivity and what are the types of hypersensitivity. Yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then roll number 5. Can you please tell me what are the types of hypersensitivity reactions? Roll number 5. Who is roll number 5? Okay, Manish Cholagai, can you tell me what are the types of hypersensitivity reactions? Manish, can you unmute yourself and then,
Yes, sir.
okay, tell us what are the types of the hypersensitivity reactions?
There are 4 types of hypersensitivity reactions.
Very good. What are they?
Type 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, can you elaborate type 1 hypersensitivity reaction?
It is IgE mediated hypersensitivity.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Now, Saksham Bhatrai. Saksham Bhatrai, unmute yourself and tell us about type 4 hypersensitivity reaction. Saksham Bhatrai, are you listening me? Okay, I have noted down his name.
Hello, sir.
Are you there, Saksham?
Sir, my net is very poor, sir.
Okay, but are you listening me?
Sir, your voice is cracking, sir.
Okay, then we'll leave Saksham Bhatrai because he has some net problem. I think we'll talk with Abhigya Acharya. Abhigya, can you please unmute yourself and tell us about type 4 hypersensitivity reaction?
Yes, sir. So, type 4 hypersensitivity reactions are mediated by antigen-specific T cells.
Can you elaborate more, please?
Like when the antigen enters the body, it is processed by antigen-presenting cells, and it
Okay,
is presented to a T cell.
very good. Very good. It is the initial part. Then what happens?
Then it will become activated and release cytokines and interferons.
Very good, very good. Can you give an example of type 4 hypersensory reaction, a disease?
Dermatitis.
Apart from leprosy, which we are talking today?
Dermatitis.
Okay, okay, yes, contact dermatitis, okay. Okay, the very peculiar example is tuberculosis,
Oh, yes, sir.
okay.
Yes.
First, bring tuberculosis into your mouth at first,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay, we'll continue. Okay, so after it is taken up by the macrophages, okay, and disseminated in the blood, it replicates primarily in the relatively cool tissues of the skin and the extremities, and in the temperature of 32 to 34 degrees Celsius, okay. And the virulence is based on the properties of its cell wall, and the bacilli do not produce any toxins, okay. And it is a type 4 or T cell mediated delayed hypersensory reaction. Now the antigens which are present in the pathogenesis of leprosy, okay, is first one is phenolic glycolipid acid, okay, or PGL1, which is present in the bacterial cell wall of the bacilli, leprobacilli, okay. The other one is surface antigen, lipoarabinomannan, okay. So these are the antigens, okay. One is the phenolic glycolipid 1, okay, which is present in the PGL1, which is present in the bacterial wall, and the other is LAM, lipoarabinomannan, okay. And there is trisaccharide in the leprobacilli, which helps in invasion of the peripheral nerves, okay. This helps in this triglyceride of the Microbacterium leprae helps in binding, okay, and then binding of the binding of trisaccharide of the Microbacterium leprae to the basal lamina of the Schwann cells, okay. And you know that Schwann cells is in the periphery of the nerve bundles, okay. So they will invade into the peripheral nerves, okay. So one is PGL1, which is phenolic glycolipid, which is present in the bacterial wall. The second one is lipoarabinomannan, and the third one is due to the trisaccharide, okay, which helps in invasion into the peripheral nerves due to the attachment in the basal lamina of the Schwann cells, okay. Now here we should know the immunopathologic spectrum of the leprosy, okay. And as I have already told you that the causation of leprosy is very much in correlation with the immunity of the patient, okay. If the patient has an intact cell mediated immunity, okay, he will either have a self healing, or he will go towards he or she will have a disease towards the tuberculoid pole. Whereas if the patient has a lower immunity, or if the patient is immunosuppressed, okay, then the patient will have a disease towards the lepromatous pole, okay. So here, if you see here, contact with Microbacterium leprae is there, then there will be subclinical infections. So this happens in a span of years, okay, not weeks, not days, not months. It happens in a span of years, okay, 2 to 20 years, okay. So there will be contact with the Microbacterium leprae, okay, then there will be subclinical infection, and if there is immunosuppression or no intact cell-mediated immunity CMI is there, then it will go to the lepromatous pole. Then if there is good immunity, then it will go to indeterminate leprosy, which can go to self-healing. Okay. Then according to the immunity, either it can go to TT, BT, BB, BL or LL. Okay. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if there is no treatment given, okay, if it is a borderline tuberculoid and tuberculoid, okay, then if the immunity of the patient or CMI, cell-mediated immunity, is good, okay, and intact, then there can be resolution. It is not that all the patients will have resolution, okay, but there can be resolution or upgrading from the BT to TT, okay, or we should say downgrading, okay. And if the patient is towards the lepromatous pole, okay, and is untreated, it will go towards the upgrading, okay, towards the lepromatous pole. Okay. And if the patient is treated, okay, okay, it will downgrade and there will be a resolution. Almost all of the patients will have resolution. Okay, so this is the immunopathologic spectrum of the leprosy. And you should know that the TT is present in a patient where the CMI is intact or the cell-mediated immunity is intact, and the lepromatous leprosy is present in a patient where the cell-mediated immunity is not in patient. Okay. And what happens with treatment and without treatment, you know that. Okay. So the same thing again, when there is infection, if the CMI is intact, then there can be healing, and if the CMI is not intact, then there will be disease leading to indeterminate leprosy, but again there can be healing. Okay. And then it can go to the tuberculoid pole or the lepromatous pole, okay, according to the immunity. Okay. If there is a high cell-mediated immunity, okay, or if the cell-mediated immunity is intact, then it will go to the tuberculoid leprosy. So I have already told you, if you correlate this with the WHO classification, this tuberculoid leprosy is the paucibacillary leprosy. So due to the high cell-mediated immunity, there will be activation of the macrophages and killing of the Mycobacterium leprae bacilli. So there will be less number of bacilli in the person. So it is paucibacillary and tuberculoid leprosy according to the Ridley and Jopling. Okay. Whereas in the towards the lepromatous pole, there will be lepromatous leprosy if the patient has a low cell-mediated immunity, and due to the low cell-mediated immunity, the macrophages will be defective and it can't activate themselves to kill the Mycobacterium leprae. So there will be accumulation of more Mycobacterium. Okay, so there will be multi-bacillary type of leprosy, but there is something in between where there will be dimorphic type. Okay, either the BT, BB or the BL. Okay, and according to the immunity, okay, if the patient just say if the patient is in BT and the patient has now at the time of the infection the patient has BT and lower level of CMI, okay, cell-mediated immunity, but afterwards the patient now developed a good immunity, then the patient can go to a tuberculoid side, okay, TT, and then he can have a healing also. And by definition, the paucibacillary leprosy has less than 5 or less lesions, and multibacillary have more than 5 lesions. Okay, by definition. Now, in pathogenesis, genotype of the host is also very, very important. Okay, first thing was antigens. Okay, antigens. One is phenolic glycolipid, which is present in the bacterial cell wall. The next one is lipoarabinomannan, okay? And the third is the trisaccharide of the Leprae bacilli, okay? Now the genotype of the host. The MSC, measure histocompatibility complex, or the HLA type, okay? HLA type of the patient determines which antigen of the leprosy shall interact with the host immune cells, okay? So HLA type is different for different people, okay? So it determines which antigen of the leprosy shall interact with the host immune cells and what sort of reaction it is going to give. And accordingly, the host response to the leprosy bacilli in different individuals is variable, okay? It is not the same after the entry of the lepra bacilli in every patient, okay? In each patient is unique for the host response. And the third one is T cell response, which is very, 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 very important, okay? Because this is the pathogenesis of leprosy. It centers around the T cell response. T cell means it is the most important cell in the cell mediated immunity, okay? You know that B cell gives the humoral immunity and T cells mainly, okay? And T cells gives the cell mediated immunity, okay? So here there will be activation of both the CD4 and CD8 T cells, okay? What do you mean by, what is the other name of CD4 T cells?
Helper.
Helper T cells.
Very good, helper T cells. And what is the other name of CD8 T cells?
Cytotoxic.
Cytotoxic T cells.
Okay, very good. Cytotoxic T cells. Again, the CD4 T cells will have some subsets. Yes? Yes? There will be types of CD4.
Yes, sir.
So what are the types?
TH1 and TH2.
And there will be TH17 too also, okay? But mostly TH1 and TH2, okay? And in tuberculoid leprosy, the TH1 response is associated with production of the interleukin 2 and interferon gamma, okay? The interleukin 2, which is the cytokine, is produced by the antigen presenting cell. And what does this interleukin 2 do? It will differentiate the T cell into the TH1, and which will release the interferon gamma. Yes, I'm correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what does this interferon gamma do? This interferon gamma will function to mobilize an effective host macrophage response, okay? It will activate the macrophages, okay? It will mobilize the macrophages and activate them, okay? So that the macrophages will eat up or try to clear the lepra bacilli, okay? So there will be low microbial burden. So in tuberculoid leprosy, there is strong TH1 response, okay? The cell mediated immunity is good, okay? So TH1 response will be good with production of the interleukin 2 and the interferon gamma. This interferon gamma will mobilize and activate the macrophages, which will lead to low microbial burden. Whereas in lepromatous leprosy, there will be opposite. Just weak TH1 response will be there, okay? And there will be relative increase in TH2 response, okay? Because there is weak TH1 response, there will be relative increase in TH2 response, but this will be of no use, okay? And there will be weak cell-mediated immunity. So there will be no activation of the macrophages, so there will be high microbial burden will be there. You should be very clear with this. Okay. The fourth thing is humoral response. Okay. Humoral response is not that important in case of leprosy. Okay. But patients of lepromatous leprosy, okay, not the tuberculoid, but the lepromatous leprosy may have humoral components. Okay, not all, but they may have humoral components like immunoglobulin, GAM, okay, and antibodies to the microbacterial antigens. But these antibodies do not seem to have any protective role against the causation of leprosy, against the lepra bacilli. Okay, and rather they can form immune complexes with the free antigens and can lead to the secondary diseases like erythema nodosum, vasculitis, or glomerulonephritis. Okay, these antibodies which are formed against the microbacterial antigens or non-specific immunoglobulins are there. Okay, antibodies are there. So these can form complexes with free antigens of our body, and they can lead to formation or they can lead to causation of erythema nodosum, vasculitis, or glomerulonephritis. So we should here know that if there is humoral response, that is not going to do anything or any help to clear the infection of the Mycobacterium leprae. It is the cell-mediated immunity that is very, 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 very important for the clearing of the infection. Okay. Now the clinical features initially of the tuberculoid leprosy. Okay. By now I know that you are very clear with the pathology and pathogenesis and immunology of the leprosy. So clinical features will also be according to that. Okay. If it is a lepromatous disease, then it is a multibacillary type. Okay, then the severity of the disease will be more. But if it is a tuberculoid leprosy, the skin lesions will be less. Okay, and the severity of the disease will be less severe. It will be less severe. Okay, the tuberculoid leprosy, it will begin as a localized, flat, hypopigmented skin. Okay, skin lesion that enlarge and develop irregular shapes with induration, elevated and hyperpigmented margins, and depressed pale centers. Okay, that is due to the central healing. And in tuberculoid leprosy, so here you should know that the skin will be hypopigmented. Okay, and they will enlarge by time. Okay, with time it will enlarge and develop irregular shapes. Okay, there will be indurations, elevations will be there, and margins will be hyperpigmented, and the centers will be pale and depressed. So that is the central healing. Okay, and the neuronal involvement will dominate, or neuronal thickening will be there. Okay, initially I told you that there will be skin and nerve involvement will be the most in case of leprosy. Okay, so neuronal involvement will be there in case of tuberculoid leprosy. Okay, neuronal thickening will be there. So nerve degeneration, okay, the nerve degeneration will lead to skin anesthesia. So there will be loss of sensation, and skin anesthesia, and skin and muscle atrophy will be there due to the denervation. Okay, or nerve degeneration. Okay, so this you have to know. It begins with a localized, flat, hypopigmented skin lesion that enlarge and develop irregular shapes with indurated, elevated, and hyperpigmented margins with depressed pale centers due to the central healing. Okay, and there will be in the tuberculoid leprosy, there will be neuronal involvement is prominent. Okay, with neuronal thickening, and nerve degeneration will lead to skin anesthesia and skin and muscle atrophy. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here you can see large, okay, both figures, there are large hypopigmented lesions. Okay, here single lesions are seen in both the figures. Okay, there are large hyperpigmented irregular, okay, with, now here we can't know whether it is indurated or not because that is a feeling. Okay, but there is a hyperpigmented area at the edge. Okay, and there will be at the center there will be hypopigmented lesion. Okay, so this is a tuberculoid lesion. And in lepromatous leprosy, it involves the skin, the peripheral nerves, the anterior eye chamber, the upper airways, the testes, the hands, and the feet. Okay, that means it is infecting the other tissues of our body. Okay. The vital organs and the CNS are rarely affected because the core temperature is high for growth of the bacilli. Okay, so wherever the infection occurs, it occurs at the peripheral lesion where the temperature of our body is lesser than the core body temperature. Okay, around 32 to 34 degrees Celsius. Okay, so in lepromatous leprosy, it involves the skin and the nerves, but other areas like the anterior eye chamber, upper airways, the testes, the hands, and the feet, they are also affected. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, there are multiple lesions. Okay, and there is deformity, leading to deformity also. Okay. Multiple lesions. Sometimes there can be leonine face. Okay. Here also you can see multiple lesions are there. Okay. So if multiple lesions are there, then with involvement of skin, nerves, okay, and other parts of the body like anterior eye chamber, upper airways, testes, hands, and feet, okay, then it is mostly found in the lepromatous leprosy. Okay, this much for today. Today we have covered the introduction part and the pathogenesis, the immunology of the leprosy, and the clinical features. Okay. Next lecture tomorrow, 11 to 12 a.m. We'll talk about the leprosy part 2. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
You must have got the PowerPoints of the earlier classes. Yes, I had uploaded them earlier.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This PowerPoint I will upload tomorrow along with the part 2 of the leprosy. Okay. Till then, tomorrow I want every one of you to study whatever I have taught today, and then the diagnosis of leprosy and complications of leprosy. Okay. The morphology, the diagnosis, and complications. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.